Okay, because we had a little bit of a challenge with the coral stitch, I'm going to go over a few different ways to approach it, and so you'll understand the loop. It's very important that you understand the loop. Also, we'll talk about how to do a coral stitch around a shape, and first things first, along a straight line, so that as a review from yesterday, I'm going to show you something very quick and easy to make sure that you cross-check before you begin, that you understand whether you're working from right to left if you are right-handed or left to right if you're left-handed. So I'm working right to left. And working right to left means that you will have your thread going toward the left. So you're pulling your thread over toward the left, right? So to begin, you want to make sure that you understand that your needle is going to go under the thread that is pulling across the line, okay? The thread that pulling across the line, your needle is positioned under. Then do you see how this loops back around here? This goes over the line and loops back. You want to make sure, and it looks like a C shape. If you're looking at it straight on, it looks like a C. The bottom part of this, what looks like a C right here, is what your needle needs to go through because that's going to create the loop. So if it's under here, it's over here in the end, and you'll see what happens. So grab a little bit, pulling, starting here, pulling across your line. Move it a little bit so that you can get to the space where you want to grab your thread. And the easiest way to do that if you're working on a stretched frame is to put your hand underneath and just guide so that the tip of your needle only picks up a little bit above and below the line that you're working on. I mean, like by one pick above and below. You just grab a tiny bit of fabric. See, I have just a little bit of fabric there. My needle has a little fabric. Now, the thread that is passing over, that's great. It's over the needle. Now, the needle needs to go over that second C-shaped, and then you pull it through, and this is what creates the knot. Do you see this? I'm going to pull super, super slow. This is what creates the knot. Boom, knot. Okay, I'm going to do it again. So your thread is facing over this way naturally. Now I'm going to draw that C shape. Do you see that C shape? This bottom part is what the needle is ultimately going to go through as the loop, and it has to go over. But first it goes under here. So I'm going to just take this down, and again, I'm going to grab a tiny bit. I'm just going to go pick a little bit above and below my working line. And I've grabbed a little, okay, so my needle is above and below. The first thread passes over, and then the needle goes over that under thread. And that's what creates the loop. And if you can see, it really looks like a loop, right? And here, there. And then as soon as I pull that, it becomes the knot. So far we have 1, 2, 3 knots. And because you've picked up a little bit of the fabric, with the tip of your needle, again, that's what secures it. So again, I'm going to go here. Now, technically you could go down and come back up, but it is much easier for you to understand this loop relationship, if you just take the tip of your needle, and if you have this frame like I have, you can put your other hand behind it, and just with your tip of your needle, you grab a tiny little bit above and below that line, above and below that line. So you're just grabbing a little bit of fabric. See that? First thread that is traveling along the line is over your needle, and this loop here, which is under, that's what your needle goes over. And as long as your needle can go over that, you'll create the loop that you need to, which becomes the knot. Here we go, and there. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now if you're traveling along a circle, so I'm going to put this down, and I'm going to show you that up here, if you are working again, I'm traveling from right to left, and I go all the way around this circle, right? And I've come here. Okay, so as you come down, you're going to have to maneuver a little bit and kind of work it around so that you can still go above and below your working line to grab a little bit, right? And you want to make sure this goes over here, right? But where's my loop? Oh, we got to make sure that this comes backwards. So when you are working around a circle, make sure you still have that C relationship, right? So the one that's traveling along the line goes over the needle after I've picked up a little bit of fabric. So again, I'm going to do it. So before you begin, make sure you have that C relationship going. This is kind of a backward C, but you always want to make sure that after you grab a little bit of fabric, that the traveling line goes over the needle, and then the needle goes over becomes this loop, and that's what becomes your knot. If it doesn't happen that way, it will not create the knot. So again, I'm going to pull the knot real slow toward the direction that I'm traveling, and I'll do it again so you can see as I'm working my way around the circle. And this is where you can kind of learn to do right and left when you do a circle, because I'm going this way. When I come down this way, it's going to feel unnatural. And I might even use my other hand. If I'm right-handed, I might actually use my left hand to pick up a little bit of this fabric right here. So a circle actually helps teach you how to do a coral stitch with both the right and the left hand. So I'm going to just pick up a little bit of fabric, teeny little bit, with the tip of my needle. And this might be uncomfortable a little. Okay, and once you do that, make sure that your traveling thread is over the needle, right? And then we want that relationship where we have the C shape, right? It's coming back this way. That's very important. So over the needle, and then the C shape, which your needle goes over that part. So the thread goes over the needle as it travels, but then your needle goes over the other part of that thread to pull through the loop. This is just one big giant loop here. This is just one big giant loop, and you can see that as it pulls into the knot shape. This is your knot. And you can continue working all the way down till you close that. So we've covered on a frame the way to do it on a straight line, as well as traveling along a circle. But the most important thing to remember is after you pick up a little bit of your fabric along your working line, above and below your working line, that your thread passes over, and that you've got this C relationship so that it goes, your needle goes under that thread, but over this one, under this thread and over this one.